about TAP standards 9 and 10 professionalism communication as it pertains to your teacher work sample. Now, the reason we start working on these in the fall semester is this is when this information is actually covered the heaviest within your school setting. So think about your back to school activities. A lot of them are geared around professional behaviors, expectations, and ethics, and communicating with parents and being able to have additionally during this time professional development that is based within the school. So for TAP Standard 9 for professionalism, your prompt is this: continual professional development is the hallmark of an effective teacher. The teacher candidate will participate in a professional development opportunity of their choice, either through the district or independently. But if you do it independently, it must be approved by your supervising professor before you begin. After completing this, the candidate will explain how they integrated what they learned at the professional development into different lessons. Notice that plural on the end of that it means more than one lesson. You're going to be after showing that you were able to utilize what you learned. Candidates will reflect on the effectiveness of these lessons as related to the professional development and determine goals for future implementation as well as personal strengths and weaknesses. Now remember when writing this section that you need to make sure you're maintaining respect and confidentiality of student information, that you are evaluating and identifying areas of personal strengths and weaknesses related to their impact of professional skills and the impact on students, that you are actually participating in ongoing professional growth activities based on areas of improvement, and that you engage in activities outside of the class for school and student enhancement. Additionally, we have the rubric on how we are grading it. And notice the difference when we're moving from exemplary to proficient to developing. So you are consistently engaging in professional learning and uses the evidence to continually evaluate your practice and the effects of the choices. And that is what you're doing. You're showing us in more than one lesson how you are integrating this and what goals you have moving forward, how the students have learned, how you can make it different versus simply engaging. If you're just simply engaging, you've participated in this professional development and you integrated it into one, maybe two lessons, but your reflections aren't as deep. And inconsistently, maybe I see this integrated in one lesson. And so making sure you're using multiple lessons as evidence. Then for TAP Standard 10, it's communication, and your prompt is this: communication with all educational stakeholders is vital for teachers. The teacher candidate will keep a log through the first semester of clinical practice, documenting contact with all stakeholders. The candidate will explain the strategies they use to initiate and maintain the contact with parent or guardians, administrators, and grade content team members. Candidates will evaluate the effect of their communication on their interactions with each of these stakeholders. The candidate will also include an evaluation of their personal strengths and weaknesses within communication and describe ways to improve future communication skills with stakeholders. That when you are doing this, keep in mind I'm looking that you're using verbal and nonverbal communication techniques, that you're fostering positive interaction, that you're promoting learning, that you're engaging in ongoing communication, that you just didn't talk to a student once or a parent once, that you're doing it multiple times, that you're sharing progress with families, that you're collaborating with the people on your team, that when you are writing emails, you are using precise language, correct vocabulary, spelling, that you're adhering to policies for communication, and that you're creating through your communication a sense of accessibility to you by the students and the parents, and that you're listening and responding to communication with understanding, and that you're using different modes of communication. Email isn't always the right way to go. So you're going to be keeping a log for that. And I believe there is a sample on the page for that. For your grade, you're looking here at exemplary and then proficient. And the big difference here is consistently again. If your log shows me that you communicated with only 3 people through the course of the semester, that's not even excels with various types. That just shows me that you're very inconsistent. So we want to see a lot of documentation to multiple people multiple times and in different ways, whether it's by phone, dojo, email, in person, and what the results of those were. The last thing I want you to keep in mind as you're working on this semester, and we'll revisit this again in the spring, is we're also going to be evaluating your grammar, punctuation, and spelling and usage. And it's expected that you will use these proper forms of the English language throughout the teacher work sample. You should ensure that all use of grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, and spelling is of the highest quality and reflects the expected writing skills of a capstone project. You are writing to communicate to your grader the skills you have learned throughout your years here, so your grammar skills should enhance that understanding and not detract from the work that you've done. And here's how we're grading it again on the 4-point scale. Consistently excels with their written communication skills. There's few to any grammatical, spelling, punctuation, or usage errors. And then is proficient with their communication. There are some spelling, grammar, punctuation, usage, but they don't detract from the professionalism. And then we get down to developing. And then we're seeing more of these areas which make the work seem less professional in certain sections. And then when you need improvement, the entire work seems to be unprofessional. So make sure you're keeping those elements in mind as you're working this semester. Please let us know. Reach out to your supervising professor or me if there are any questions.